Now let us take few more questions on software engineering. So first is incremental development in extreme programming. We are talking about extreme programming right now. So incremental development in extreme programming is supported through a system release once every month, and the answer is false because this development in extreme programming is supported through small and frequent system releases. Okay. Then in XP, as soon as the work on a task is complete, XP means extreme programming. In XP, as soon as the work on a task is complete, it is integrated into the whole system. The answer is true because XP follows a continuous integration approach. So after any such integration, all the unit tests in the system must pass. Next is in XP, increments are delivered to customer every week. The answer is this is a fill in the blanks. So we need to answer which the number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the answer would be you got it right because the answer is 2 weeks. That is 15 days. So extreme or a fortnight, you can say. Extreme programming takes an extreme approach to iterative development. This is iterative development only. Extreme programming is nothing but a type of extreme development of iteration. So new versions may be built several times per day. Hence, delivering the increment for approval every second week after testing, the new version is done. User requirements are expressed as dash in extreme programming. What are these? Scenarios or something else? The answer is scenarios because user requirements are expressed as scenarios or the user stories. These are some different words, but they mean the same. These are user specifications only. So these are written on cards, and the development team break them down into implementation tasks. So these tasks are the basis of the schedule and the cost estimates. Next is a customer involved test development and validation in XP? Yes, no, it may vary from customer to customer. The answer is C because the role of the customer in the testing process is to help develop acceptance tests for the stories that are to be implemented in the next release of the system. However, people adopting the customer role have limited time available and so cannot work full time with the development team. So they may feel that providing the requirements was enough of a contribution, so they are reluctant to get involved in the testing processes. That is why the answer C is correct. Programmers prefer programming to testing, and sometimes they take shortcuts while writing tests. For example, they may write incomplete tests that do not check for all possible exceptions that may occur. And the answer is true in XP. So in XP, some tests can be very difficult to write incrementally. For instance, in a complex user interface, it is often difficult to write unit tests for the code that implements the display logic and workflows between the screen. So the answer will be true. Okay. Next is tests are automated in extreme programming. Tests are automated. The answer is true. Automated tests, they harnesses these are used to run all component tests each time we build a new release. Next is in XP, an automated unit test framework is used to write tests for a new piece of functionality before that functionality itself is implemented. Is it correct? The answer is yes. XP follows test first development approach. Test first development approach. Next is developers work individually on a release and they compare the result with other developers before forwarding that release to the customer. And the answer is false. XP follows the principle of pair programming, which means developer work in pairs. There are two people sitting on a single system, right? Checking each other work and providing the support to do good job always. So the answer would be false here. Next is which 4 framework activities are found in extreme programming? 4 framework activities. Can you answer this? They are almost similar to the classical programming SDLCs. So the answer is C. First we plan, the design, then code and test. XP involve the mentioned 4 activities. These are in this order. Then we come to the next topic, which is requirement documentation. Which of the following property does not correspond to a good SRS? Verifiable, ambiguous, complete, traceable. So the answer would be B, that is ambiguous. So the SRS should be unambiguous in nature, which means that each sentence in SRS would have a unique interpretation. That means you cannot say that the GUI should be good. It does not mean anything as far as SRS is concerned. Second, which of the following property of SRS is depicted by the statement conformity to a standard is maintained? Conformity, we have to answer in these terms. Property, following property. Conformity to a standard is maintained. Which of the answer is correct? The answer is your B, because the SRS is complete, full labeling and referencing of all figures, tables, etc. and definition of all terms and units of measure which is defined. So it should be complete. The SRS is said to be consistent if and only if first, its structure and styles are such that any change to the requirement can be made easily while retaining the style and structure. Every requirement stated therein is one that the software shall meet, and every requirement stated therein is verifiable. And no subset of individual requirements described in it conflict with each other. What is the answer? The answer is D. No subset of individual requirements described in it conflict with each other, that is, it is consistent. So real world objects may conflict with each other. For example, one requirement say that all lights should be red, while the others say that all lights should be green. So it should be consistent. Which of the following statements about SRS is or are true? Can you answer? Written by customer, written by developer, serves as a contract between customer and developer. Only one is true. Both 2 and 3 are true. All are true. Answer is your C. Why? Because the SRS acts as a communication between the customer, analyst, system developer, and maintainers. So it is a contract between purchaser and supplier. So it is essentially written by the developer on the basis of customer need. But we have chosen this answer by developer because in some cases it may be written by customer as well as customers, right? The SRS document is also known as black box, white box, gray box specification. The answer is your black box specification because here we talk about the functional and non-functional requirements. The system is considered as a black box whose internal details are not known, that is, only its visible external or input-output behavior is only documented. Then we go to the design that you can call as some sort of white box specification. Which of the following is included in SRS? Cost, there's a design constraint, staffing, and delivery schedule. The answer is your design constraint. Cost is not there. Staffing, delivery schedule, these are not in SRS. So the design constraint, these all are there in project proposal only. So design constraint here includes standards to be incorporated in the software, implementation language, the resource limits, and the operating environment. Which of the following is not included in SRS? Again, performance, functionality, design solution, external interfaces. So answer would be your C. The SRS document concentrates on what needs to be done. We don't write in SRS how to do it. So we carefully avoid the solution aspects. Next is arrange the given sequence to form a SRS prototype outline as per IEEE SRS standard. Let us start. First of all, you need to have some indexes, then some introduction, some general description, then some specific requirements and appendices. So let us see what is the answer. We'll go by it. The answer is first you start with the introduction. Okay. Then you go for the general description. Then you go for the specific requirement. Then appendices, and finally the index. So why I showed you the other way around, because in general terms or in normal document we follow the way I said, but in IEEE SRS standard the sequence is followed like this as given in C. Ninth, consider the following statement. The output of a program shall be given within 10 seconds of event to 10% of the time. What characteristic of SRS is depicted here? The output of a program should give result in this second, event 10% of time. So can you answer this? The answer is our B, because it is verifiable. The SRS is verifiable. if and only if every requirement stated therein is verifiable. Hence, the given condition can be easily verified during the testing phase. Next is consider the following statement. The data set will contain an end of file character. What characteristic of SRS is being depicted here? The data set will contain an end of file character. See? The answer is, again, it is non-verifiable. Why? Ambiguity we have talked about, because an SRS is unambiguous, but we can say not ambiguous, or it contains ambiguity. Not ambiguous means I mean to say it has no ambiguity if and only every requirement stated therein has only one unique interpretation. So this statement does not answer the question which data set will have an end of file character. That data set will contain an end of file character. So that is not verifiable. Consider the statement, the product should have a good human interface. That the way I said, that the UI should be good. What characteristics of SR is being depicted here? Again, we go to the same one, non-verifiable, because the SRS is verifiable if and only if every requirement states therein is verifiable. So the statement can only be answered on completion of the software and customer evaluation, but still human interface will vary from person to person, and you have to specify in some terms, mathematical terms, or some verifiable terms. Next is narrative essay is one of the best types of specification document. Narrative essay. The answer is right or wrong. The answer is false, because narrative essay is one of the worst type of specification document, as it is difficult to change, ambiguous, difficult to be precise, has scope of contradiction. So point wise and specific content bullet wise is what is advisable. So thank you so much. We'll be taking more questions in coming session. Thank you so much.